Where does the Girl's Book of Knots come from?
Well, from an obsession that I have had recently, which was I became so intrigued and so interested by this 1944 knot encyclopedia called the Ashley Book of Knots. And it's a really popular book. It recently came into the public domain. I didn't know that at the time, but I got my hands on a copy of that book, and it's got this beautiful cover illustration. I wish I had it here to show you. I'm trying to see. Oh, I do have it right behind me. I'll get it in a minute. Beautiful cover illustration, 3,900 plus knots, illustrations of them, and instructions on how to tie them, their uses. It's just a beautiful book, but it was written in the 40s, and it didn't have much to do with, I don't know, it was just an older style of writing. There was lots there, but I loved the language, but I didn't have much of a way into it. It was really written for sailors. And so I decided to kind of edge my own way into it, and use that language as a metaphor. Here it is. It's a stunning cover. And so inside, the illustrations are just simple, it's encyclopedic entries of knots with illustrations that are numbered. And then he has subject heading or chapters. And at the beginning of the chapter, there's always a more detailed illustration. And I actually used several of those beginning chapter pages, where he would write up a little bit about the knots, the general knots in that chapter, their uses and who came up with them and the development of those. I actually used a few of those in erasures.
What do you know about quipus and how would they fit into your narrative?
Well, that's a great question. I think, well, I mean, I think poems can be coded messages, actually. I think that the meaning that you get out of a poem depends on your experience. And so a poem might not say exactly the same thing to two different readers. But I actually really like that. And I try to write poems that can be taken a couple of different ways. I don't want to leave my reader hanging. I definitely have a message to communicate, but I want it to be something that the reader can participate in as well. I don't want to just, stand and dictate what the poem means, what it says, what it is. I want that to be more of a collaborative experience. And so in that way, I think poems, I would say in general, are coded